Good morning, everyone, and welcome to High Trust Coaching Live. I am Hope Borman. I am the Divisional President of High Trust Coaching, and I have with me today Coach Lisa Wills. Good morning, Lisa.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm terrific this morning. I'm so happy to see your shining face.
You too.
So today we are going to be talking about something super important. But before we get started, I just wanted to kind of let everybody know that we bring High Trust Coaching live to everyone every Wednesday morning, and our goal is to bring insight, impact into your business, into your lives. And hopefully something that we say today is you're going to come away with, a new understanding, or maybe even an affirmation of something that you already know, but you just needed to hear it one more time today. So let's get into it today. Today, Lisa and I, before we get started also, as I wanted, Lisa, I know that this is the second time you've been on Coaching Live with us, but I thought maybe it might be fun for people that don't know you yet and how amazing you are to just kind of introduce yourself a little bit.
Sure. So I'm Lisa Wills, as the headline says there above my picture. And I have been in the industry about 20 years, and most of my career has been on the banking side. Under the wealth management, high net worth customer base. And I took a little stint about a year ago to try the broker side, and came back to the bank side, just because they have the platform that we need in this line of business for wealth management and high net worth customers. So I just returned to PNC Bank. This will be my 4th year there, and I'm really, really excited to be back. And already business is exploding. So and the purchase business, which is fantastic. So I've been a high trust coach for this is my 1st year, but I've been with Hope as my coach for 3 years, and it has completely transformed my business. So I'm really excited to be here and talk about some of the things that you and I have worked through in order to be able to transform business, and allowed me to now help others to do the same.
Yeah. Great. Excellent. Lisa, I just wanted to tell you that as you were talking, I was thinking about, how your business has just exploded in just in the short time since you've been back at PNC. And it just makes me realize that when you're in the right place, doing the right thing, every door just opens up for you, right?
It's so true. It's so true. And having the right support system behind you. Absolutely.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So congratulations on that. I'm happy for you. Okay, so today we're going to talk about time. And, obviously time is something that a lot of us don't seem to have a lot of these days. But I really kind of feel, and what we teach at High Trust is how you can manage time, how you can master time management, how you can have a work-life balance, and how you can be productive and efficient and actually fulfilled at the end of your day if you're managing time. So Lisa, let's just get into it. Talk to me a little bit about why time is so important and managing time is so important.
Well, I think it's something that in our industry is a necessity if we're going to go from average to exceptional, right? Sure. If we're going to be a master at our craft, it is the one thing that will keep us from being able to take the next step forward, from being able to reach the horizon. So for me, it isn't being reactionary. And that was the thing that I learned in coaching that you and I work through. It's being much more intentional. So I reference Time Traps, Todd's book, a lot. It's helped me immensely. I've read it several times, and I feel like historically in our business, it isn't, we get up in the morning and we have all these plans on what we're going to do today, but then the day happens and it gets away from us. And unfortunately, we tend to spend most of our time then on the operation side and babysitting pipelines and putting out fires, as opposed to doing what we really do best, and that's new business development and putting together not only great plans, but also great partnerships. But we don't necessarily always have the time because the time gets away from us. So what happens is we have all these grandiose plans for the year, and then next year we're kind of in the same place because we haven't made any changes. So I think what's historical for most of us is we're afraid to let go. We're afraid. We feel like we need to be in control of everything. And then when we do kind of delegate a little bit, we kind of have maybe a bad experience and think, well, if I want it done right, I got to do it myself. But that is completely the opposite of where we need to be thinking in order to grow our business, because that's not going to help us grow our business.
Yeah. So Lisa, that's amazing. And I hope that everybody's taking notes on this, because what you just, that was a mouthful. And, I wonder if, on the delegating part and the letting go part, I'm wondering if some of us have the biggest problem with letting go because we have identified our value and our value in our business by doing it ourselves. In other words, if we let go of that, then what am I going to do? And where can I find that? Then what am I going to do? And am I good at that? I know I'm really good at, pushing files through, and I'm really good at talking to clients and whatever those things are. But I think sometimes we kind of lose a little bit of identity when we start to delegate and let go.
Oh, I agree, because really we've gone to our maximum potential, most of us, where we have pushed the limits of time, and we have a beautiful business that pays very well, right? But what we've sacrificed for it is balance in our life, maybe our health. And we really can't explain, we can't grow our business any more than we have, because we've reached our maximum of time and effort. And that's where the light bulb went off for me. First of all, obviously in Academy, when we talked about time management and time blocking, but also when you and I started working through it, and I started seeing that I didn't need to have my hands in everything. I didn't need to babysit everything. What I needed was a great team around me, and we worked on developing that, and then delegating the things that I didn't need to do to that team. So I think at one point you used an illustration. I don't even know if you remember this, but as a surgeon, you said, I don't have to be the person that checks everybody in at reception. I don't need to be the guy that cleans the room. I don't need to be the nurse that sets up everything. I don't even need to be the person that checks the vitals. All I need to do is be the surgeon and come in, and the team really needs to be all of those other things. And that has allowed me then to focus on new business development.
Exactly. And did you find, Lisa, when you were not, distracted with all of those things, those in-weed things that you really were not your highest and best use of your time, did you find that you started to develop new skills and started to master new talents and strengths in that process of building business and developing yourself?
Absolutely, because you're focusing now, the majority of the time that I'm spending now is developing relationships. So, every time I have a conversation, I'm getting better and better and better at it. And I'm getting out there more. So I'm not the best kept secret sitting at my desk, putting in apps. I'm not on a roller coaster anymore of getting apps, then making sure they close, and then getting apps and making sure they close. But now I have a flow of business and referral partners. And that just continues to grow. And I feel like the more time you spend on that, now I am able to spend time really on myself and my knowledge base, and bettering myself and bettering my conversations.
Yeah, exactly. And bettering your craft. Right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's fantastic. I love that. So what was the first thing, when we started working on time management? What was the first step? What was I really believe that in coaching, what we do is we don't teach you to basically time block your entire day right out the gate. We kind of start in steps that we can actually execute on, implement, and work it into our daily routine. And then we move to the next time block. So what was your first time block?
That's a great question, because I remember the first time you sent me what a calendar should look like, and I compared it to what mine looked like, and it was completely different. But for me, it was literally just doing what I called 2+2. I did 2 calls in the morning and 2 calls in the afternoon. And then we started tracking my hours. So I would do 55-minute hours. And I had a little alarm on my phone, and it would go off, and I would really try and sit for a couple minutes and say, okay, where did I just spend my hour, and was it efficient? And over, I would say, a couple months, it got me thinking about tracking my time And I started noticing that my calendar was looking more and more like the one you sent and less like the chaotic one that I had.
Right.
And I was spending more time. And
Right.
I think what the biggest surprise for me when I did that was that I had more time, and I didn't more time to do the things personally that I wanted to do. And I didn't realize, I didn't even think that was possible. How can you block out time from your operations oversight and still have time to do new business development and have time for, things that you want to do personally, which for me was, I'm a ferocious reader and I wanted to make sure I took care of my health, and I wanted to get lots of sleep, spend more time with family and friends. And what I realized over about a year's period is I had that time now. Right. And I don't even know when that happened and what the transition was, but all of a sudden it was very interesting that when you stop babysitting and you focus on what you do well, and you let your team focus on what they do well, everything works out. So then the goal became go to work, get everything done that you need to get done, rely on your team, and go home.
Right. Yeah. And go home.
That was mind-blowing for me.
That's so interesting. I was talking to a client that we have a coaching member that we have in Australia, and last week, and we were talking about the fact that they had brought on a new person who was going to be taking on a lot of the roles of the partner. And so we were going through that process and what their tasks and roles and responsibilities were going to be, and so on and so forth. And I looked at his partner and I said, so that's going to free up a tremendous amount of time for you because you are not going to be in the weeds anymore. Have you planned what you're going to be doing? And he literally, deer in the headlights, had no answer for me, right? Because it was kind of, we all kind of laughed about the moment, but I was serious about the question because I wanted him to start thinking about, once this person is trained, to start visioning what his business was going to look like and what he was going to be able to do that he has not been able to do for the last several years prior to hiring this person, bringing this person on board. So I wanted him to start thinking in those terms. So it's really kind of interesting that he went, I don't know what I'm going to do if I don't have all these, if I'm not, in the middle of this chaos.
Exactly. And I'll add to that by saying, what it opens up is clarity. So you have time to plan now, and you have time to think through things, and you're not being reactionary. You're being very intentional and focused in the things that you're doing and spending your time on. So you have the time to master your craft. You have the time to have enough rest and enough mental rest so that you can be there for family and friends, and that makes you better in what you're doing. So what I found is it's really the foundation. Time blocking is the foundation of a successful business, because if we can manage our time, all those tentacles go into every other aspect of our business, including, developing great relationships. That takes time. That's not just a phone call. That's not just something you do in the afternoon. It takes time. So it starts going into all those other areas of business that make you successful. And then it opens up. It's really mind-boggling that you reach a point by yourself where you say, I can't do any more business. I'm exhausted.
Yes.
And then you start time blocking and you get a good team around you. And all of a sudden you have the time to do the things you want, but your business continues to grow.
Right.
That's the mind-blowing part.
Yeah, that's the awesome. I was talking to a client yesterday, and he has several businesses. So he has a mortgage business, and a very strong mortgage business. Actually, his mortgage business, he's got 3 states. So he's Ohio, California, and Nevada. And then over and above that, he acquires investment properties. I mean, he has, I think right now he's up to somewhere around 120 doors. Wow. And so he does a lot of, real estate investment. And then he also, kind of does a lot of property management and, all of these things. So he's got a lot of balls in the air. And we were doing his hourly rate yesterday. And, his hourly rate is, kind of through the roof, because he kind of got honest with me and he said, Hope, to be quite honest with you, on my mortgage business, I'm only spending maximum 3 hours a day. maximum 3 hours a day. And then, he says, I just added an addition to my home. So I've really been investing my time in that. And I just, that type of thing. And I said, that's the ultimate goal. We want you to be having a thriving mortgage business. That's the, I said, so don't apologize to me for it. That's the ultimate goal. So we're spending 3 or 4 hours a day in your business, having it run, serve you, and serve the people that you want to be serving. And at the same time, be able to do the things that, the other things in your life that you want to be able to do. So it's become for him, it's become a cash wheel.
Absolutely. Yep. And it absolutely can be. And that's kind of the part where it's surprising, because it's hard to understand that if you spent less time, you'd have more business.
Yeah.
But it really is true, because now the time that you spend is, like I said, very focused. So even with realtor relationships and other partner relationships, I'm very picky on who I spend a lot of time and focus on.
Mm-hmm.
And that even has enhanced my life, because now I have relationships that I really enjoy working with. As opposed to the ones that just completely stress you out. So it even flows that way. And it's amazing and almost surprising. And every coaching member I talk to, when we first start down this road, I have to laugh, because I felt the exact same way. I'm like, that's impossible. There's no way you could be in mortgage and spend 3 hours a day on your business and be successful. But really, if you look at the top producers, and many of them in Elite, that's what they're doing, 3-4 hours a day, and they go home, because they have developed the relationships that support the business, and they have a team that supports them, and they're able then to be the surgeon in their business, which is the goal for all of us.
Exactly. And the first thing that you said just now, Lisa, is that it is possible. Not only is it possible, but it's extremely possible. And it's very, very doable to create that type of an environment. And I know that you're doing it yourself. You've done it yourself. But I also remember the day, a few years back, the first day you and I, started coaching together, and you said, Hope, I want to make more money. I want to grow my business, but I literally do not have any more time in my day. And we said, well, let's get into that then, and one of the other things I wanted to mention was teaching our operations team time blocking, teaching our supports team. One of the things that I hear, when I'm talking to coaching members, especially at master level, is that we're talking about, support staff and how many files they're managing, and, and what their workflow is looking like, and so on and so forth. And because one client was telling me yesterday that some of the things, the wheels were starting to fall off the bus, and mistakes were being made. And, there was the 11th hour mini dramas going on. It was because, someone didn't do their job. And I said, well, how much, have you taught your fulfillment team how to time block? And are you giving your fulfillment team quiet time where nobody can call them? You can't call them. No one can call them, where they have time that is focused time, that all they're doing is those important tasks, or all they're doing is, getting disclosures out, or all they're doing is collecting files, or all they're doing. So if they don't have the distractions, all day, for at least 2 hours a day, or 2 hours in the morning and 2 hours in the afternoon, they're going to be 10 times more productive, and literally their anxiety, their stress levels are going to go way down.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's funny that you just said that, because our operations team sent out 3 days a week where they're on do not disturb. And those 3 days, they've looked back through it, and they're the most productive 3 days of their entire week, because they're not getting phone calls, and they're not being distracted, and they're able to focus on one thing at a time instead of being pulled everywhere. And that's really a good way for us to look at it too. Like, I remember when you told me to turn the notifications off my phone, I almost passed out. I was like, how can I do that? I'm waiting for business. I'm waiting, for clear to close. I've got all this stuff going on. You're like, and that will come, but you have to plan that in your day so that it doesn't get away from you. And I guess it's the same, right? Monitoring emails, monitoring your phone. That is the biggest time waster of our day.
And I
Yeah.
think that that's something that we want to, and that's how we build culture within, we build, a high trust culture within an organization, is we're not only teaching it to our sales team, which are, obviously frontline, but we're teaching that same methodology and business practices to our fulfillment team so that A, everybody's speaking the same language, and C, everybody's more productive. Everybody
Absolutely.
has time in their day, and nothing, nothing is falling off the table or the bus, the wheels aren't falling off the bus, right?
That's so true. I remember a top producer at Sales Mastery. Remember the one? She's one of the top producers in the country. I won't say her name, but her husband's a surgeon. Remember? And she got a phone call in the middle of dinner, and she said, "I have to take this. Something's falling apart." He said, "Well, when something falls apart in my watch, somebody dies, but because on the table, but on your watch, they can wait till after dinner." And
Yeah,
it's really true. Like, we make
so
it that
true.
important, and it's not that important. It
It's
really
not
is. Our business is important if we have a great team around us that can support us and ensure that beautiful customer experience. Then we really don't have to micromanage that.
I worked my majority of my, I'm in Orange County, California now, but the majority of my business, was in LA, Los Angeles
Yeah.
County. And I was in West LA. My agent relationships were Beverly Hills, Westwood, Brentwood, Malibu. And I worked a 4.5-day work week. And, and I kind of basically would manage my relationships by saying, this is how I work. If by Friday noon, you don't have everything you need for everybody who's going to get in your car this weekend, for every showing you're going to show this weekend, and know what's happening in the market so you can speak intelligently, you can call me on the weekend. And everybody used to think that what I was insane for telling a top producing, agent in Beverly Hills this, but it worked for them. It worked for me, and it worked for them. We're going, yeah, okay. And if they really truly did need to get in touch with me over the weekend, which 9 times out of 10 they really didn't, it was, it would be just that, hey, I just real quick, this, that, or the other. So I think that it's really important that, yes, you can fashion your business, and it doesn't make any difference what market you're in. You can create a business that works for you. I mean, you're in a very affluent market. You deal with only affluent clients who, by the way, they are most important. They are the center of the universe, right?
Totally. They really are.
And they feel obviously that you've taken care of them. They feel safe and they trust you.
Yeah, absolutely. And you want that experience. So not spending as much time on your business. In our minds, we think, well, that's going to mean a bad customer experience, but it really doesn't.
Right.
It's like you said, if you tell people how you work and you manage expectations and you have a great support system, then there's no reason you can't reach all of the goals that you have for yourself.
Exactly. So very, very true. So Lisa, let's talk a little bit about, time management and mastering time. And what was the one thing that you feel as though had the biggest impact, doing as far as your time management was concerned? I mean, what do we teach our coaching members? What is step 2 and step 3?
Right. So definitely setting aside time every day and being very focused and intentional on what you're going to do during those new business development hours. But for me, literally turning off my phone during the times that I needed to plan and think and make the next steps, and also turning off my email while I was having conversations. So if I'm talking to somebody, I'm not doing 4 things at once. I'm really trying to focus on that conversation and because that's how we're building the relationship, right? So I making sure that we're blocking out our time and sticking to it on our calendar, putting down our phones, not checking our emails every 2 minutes, turning off notifications, and then really developing a really good team and efficient system was equally important as we were doing both of those things. We were doing the time management piece, because that also has to support this new way of doing business, right? But it can be done, and it really is habitual to check your phone all the time, right? And it's habitual to check your emails all the time. And it's habitual to micromanage the process. And it's habitual to call the processors all the time. If we can break those habits by really focusing our attention on what our superpowers are, and in mortgage, really it is sales. If we can focus our time there and trust the process and trust our teams, then that all then helps us to break those habits of thinking we need to have control of everything, and breaking those beliefs that if I want it done right, I have to do it myself.
Right.
If we're saying if I want it done right, I have to do it myself, we have just capped our ability to grow our business.
That's
possible.
huge. That's huge what you just said. If we don't feel as though we don't have enough time to do more business, then we have just put a cap on a business that has no ceiling.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
So
it's amazing, right? It mentally you think, well, if I want to have more business, I have to spend more time, but really it's the opposite.
Yeah.
And once you start breaking the habits and seeing that truth in your own life, then it's very, very easy to continue walking that path. But I'll tell you, myself included, every coaching member that I've talked to, when we start this process, that is the pushback. Oh no, I could never delegate that. I've got my own system. I've got my own way. I'm efficient here. I can do it this way, and I'm successful. But if you want to grow your business, you have to learn time management and time blocking.
Right.
And really, I don't feel that's even possible because of our habitual nature without coaching.
Right. Yeah. Lisa, I'm reading a book right now. I just started it and I'm loving it. It's by Martha Beck, and it's called The Path to Integrity. And she talks about the fact that if something isn't working, don't do it harder. And I just thought that just kind of really
we need T-shirts with that on there. That's perfect.
Yeah. I thought that was great. It's like, don't do it harder, right? Exactly, which is kind of what our natural instinct is to do, is right. If something isn't working, then we work harder and longer, and and that type of thing. And instead of taking a step back and saying, okay, what is this here to teach me? What do I need to learn from this? How do I grow from this? And how do I start to really grow and scale my business? And that type of thing. So we need to have those conversations with ourselves as well, right?
No, I agree. And that sometimes we feel, and our belief is success means we work really, really hard and we make good money, right? But that can't be, true success can't be at the expense of our physical and mental and emotional health, right, or our relationships with family members and friends. It can't be. That's not success. Yeah. Sure. That's just making money. Right. So by time blocking and really learning this, which I feel is the foundation of truly having a business, a successful business. If we can learn that, it'll change our belief system. And we'll see that it's not just being successful in business, it's being successful in life. And that's what time blocking does.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, Lisa, I can't believe it. We're coming up to the end of our 30 minutes.
So fast.
I can't believe it.
Every time we talk.
Yeah, I could talk to you for hours. I know you and I have done in the past.
Yes, we have.
So I'm going to ask you I'm going to kind of throw you a little bit of a curveball.
Okay.
And I want to ask you, to complete a sentence. So okay. So the sentence is, the key to success is.
Well, I think I'd have to steal a line from Time Traps, because Todd says that the key to any endeavor, success in any endeavor, is focused time.
Yeah.
And that's so true.
Yeah.
So I feel that is truly the key to success. I wouldn't have said that 3 years ago when we started this process, but I believe it. I'm a believer now. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Absolutely. Thank you, Lisa. This has been amazing. So I obviously, for those of you that are coaching members, thank you for being the very, very best part of High Trust Coaching. If you're not a coaching member and you want to hear more about our coaching program, please schedule a free coaching call. Talk to one of our coach consultants, and you can just go to toddduncan.com/coaching, schedule a call, talk to one of our consultants, and just really ask every question that you can think of, and what coaching is and what coaching is not. And also, I think that take one thing that Lisa's taught us today, take one thing that you're going to time block into your day for the next week. And just to see how that really starts to work and serve you as the weeks go by.
Yeah, agreed. That's 5 calls a week, by the way. That's pretty good.
That's 5 calls a week, by the way.
That's right. That's fantastic.
All right. Lisa, thank you again, kiddo.
Thank you, Hope. Great seeing you.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye, everyone.